You ever wonder what an AI is really thinking? I mean, we see these incredible results, but how it gets there is, well, it's a total black box. Today, we're diving into a new system that wants to crack that box wide open, a way to make an AI's reasoning traceable, auditable, and, actually reliable. All right, let's get into it. So let's be real. Large language models today are kind of magical. You can ask one to write a poem that sounds just like Shakespeare, whip up a symphony, or spit out some pretty complex code in like seconds. The stuff they can do is just exploding, and it's changing, well, pretty much everything. But, and this is a huge but, that exact same AI can also just make stuff up, and it does it with so much confidence. It'll invent legal cases that never happened, create fake historical battles, or cite research papers that just don't exist. This is the big problem, right? How can we trust these things with anything that actually matters? Which leads us to this huge question. What if we could peek inside that black box? Like in math class, what if we could make the AI show its work step by step so we could actually see its thought process and know for sure if it's on the right track? Well, it turns out the answer might be something called the Symbolic Cognitive System, or SCS for short. It's a whole new architecture designed to do exactly that, to build a mind for an AI that we can actually read. Now, here's the key thing to understand. SCS isn't a new AI model. It's more like a framework, a set of guardrails that an LLM has to operate within. It's a system designed from the ground up for traceable reasoning and for controlling what comes out based on pure, verifiable logic. And I love this analogy because it just perfectly captures the whole idea. The goal here is to create a fossil record of every thought the AI has. Every single logical step gets preserved, locked in stone, and can't be changed later. It's like finding a thought perfectly preserved in amber. Okay, so how in the world does this actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and look at the building blocks that make up this whole traceable mind. So it all starts with the smallest piece, called an entry. An entry is just a tiny permanent file. It's the fossil. It captures one single moment of logic, one thought. And once it's written, it's immutable. It cannot be changed, ever. That's what creates the audit trail. So you've got these fossilized thoughts, but who checks them? Who makes sure they're legit? That's where modules come in. You can think of a module as a little inspector or an auditor that checks the AI's work. Its whole job is to enforce the rules and make sure every step is solid before the AI can move on. And what rules are these inspectors using? They all come from a file called hard rules. This is basically the system's constitution. It's a locked set of directives that the AI absolutely cannot ignore or try to get clever with. It's the non-negotiable foundation for all its thinking. Okay, so this chart kind of pulls it all together. You see the parts we just talked about. The entry is the fossil, the module is the inspector, and hard rules is the constitution. And then there are a couple other key pieces here. The operator file, which just defines who's who, like the user or auditor, and something called the Berkano protocol, with that cool runic symbol, which is the official process for auditing the whole system. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. This sounds incredibly complicated and like a total pain to set up, right? Well, this is maybe the wildest part of the whole thing. You don't have to install anything, not a single thing. Seriously, using it is unbelievably simple. You just open something like ChatGPT, then you copy and paste the text from any of the system's files. That's it. Because all the rules are written right into the text itself, the system just kind of enforces its own rules as it goes. No plugins, no special software, nothing. This quote from the project's own documentation just nails it. It's not about just getting an answer anymore. It's about getting an answer that brings its entire, unchangeable history with it. Every single step is a fossilized cognition event. How cool is that? So let's just put this side by side for a second. A normal LLM is a black box. You get an answer, but you have no idea why. It makes stuff up all the time, and what it says is final. With an SCS-enhanced LLM, you get a traceable logic path. That makes it resistant to hallucinations, and it means every single output can be fully audited. And look, this isn't just theory. The system's own logs are filled with hundreds of real examples where it was put to the test. Let's look at a couple of them. So, for instance, if you check out entry 583, you can literally see the system catch itself before it starts to hallucinate and then correct its own path. And entry 548 is even cooler. It was a deliberate sabotage test. The user tried to trick the AI with a contradiction, but the system's own rules forced it to call out the error instead of just giving a wrong answer.
So, what does all this mean? Why is a system like this so important for the future? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. The benefits here are massive, and they hit the biggest weaknesses of AI today right where it hurts. We're talking about making them resistant to making things up, ensuring their reasoning is sound, giving them a stable memory, and making sure their outputs are based on logic, not just, guessing what word should come next. And it all comes from being able to trace the reasoning.
And this is the real takeaway. When you can trace exactly how an AI made a decision, you can finally build systems that are safe and that someone can be held accountable for. For fields like medicine or law or engineering, places where a mistake can be catastrophic, this isn't just some nice-to-have feature. It's a complete game changer. So I want to leave you with this one fascinating question. As this kind of technology grows, we really have to ask ourselves, if an AI's thoughts are permanent and anyone can audit them, who gets to look? The person using it? The company that made it? Government regulators? The answer to that is going to define the entire future of trustworthy AI.